Hey TCS TV viewers, it's Dave and Evelyn from the Camera Store, and today we're going to be talking about 35mm film.
In particular, a company that's supporting this revival called Flic Film.
The last few years, Dave and I have really noticed a lot more people gravitating towards 35mm film. It's kind of fun, it's nostalgic, and it's just something that you can do where you can both shoot it and then process it from start to finish at home.
But at first glance, developing your own film seems a bit daunting, all the chemistry involved and what's needed. So Flic Film has a bunch of easy-to-use kits that provide all that you need, including the instructions to develop a majority of black and white film.
Yeah, not only do they produce the film themselves, but everything that you could possibly need, whether you're a beginner, you're getting into doing it in your bathroom, or you're someone that's a little bit more advanced. So Dave and I went on a field trip to Longview, just outside the city, and we're so lucky because these guys are local and they're making all this stuff, and so we're able to show you what the ins and outs are inside their facility. Can you tell us a little bit about what Flic Film is all about?
Flic Film is a very analog-centric company. Everything we do is for analog photography. So we do film conversion, which is taking big reels of film, raw film, and putting the 35mm canisters ready to go into a camera. The other thing we do is photochemicals. So I do believe we have the broadest spectrum of photochemicals available anywhere in the world, because we can produce in very small quantities or large quantities depending on what the market is. And we also have manufacturing and distribution of analog photo accessories.
What is the product that you're most excited about right now?
Our biggest product right now, it's quite a buzz around the world, is Electra 100 film, which is a C41 color film. And this is a aerial photography film that we buy in great quantities. You have to buy a huge amount of it to get it to finish, and we are putting that into cassettes, and that is getting shipped literally all over the world.
So why do you think that there's this resurgence of analog photography? Why do you think people like to work with analog film and develop it and create these kind of tangible photography pieces?
I can really only speak to my own personal experience. Kind of slowly started drifting back into film. I was doing odd stuff, shooting with a 617 camera and shooting with that. I started shooting more and more with film and started seeing a response about a little gallery. A few years ago, we were having an art walk. There used to be 4 galleries in Longview. And I stuck 2 photos that I'd taken literally seconds apart, one with my Nikon digital camera and one with a Pentax 645N medium format camera. I finished the 2 photos the same, mounted them the same way, and didn't say a word to anybody, just put them on the counter and said, please vote. And we had about 160 people through that voted, and over 80% of them voted for the film. And I can't put a reason as to why, but it was glaringly obvious to me that it wasn't just me that was finding this attraction. It was, also found in the people looking at the finished product.
There's something magical, a magical quality about it, maybe.
Yeah, there's something. I can't even put anything to it other than it is something. It's real. It's tangible. And I've always been customer oriented. So if my customers prefer it, I'm going to just listen to them.
Now, I noticed you have a lot of C41 products here. Can you talk a little bit about why you decided to get into C41 chemistry and where there was maybe some gaps in the market?
Yeah, a few years ago I started this little camera store, and just as kind of a lark. Actually, it was right after I had that response on the walkthrough and the voting on the digital versus film. I started bringing in products that I thought were not that available in the Canadian market and distributing them just on a sort of casual basis. And we had problems with the Kodak chemicals. Kodak Alaris sold their chemical division to Sino-Promise in China, and that lasted a year before they were in receivership. Products were very unreliable. I knew how to blend this stuff. It's not rocket science. It's just a matter of can you get the products and do you have the wherewithal to do it, etc. So we started blending black and white products, film products, just for our own use, basically. And then I had been distributing C41 kits. I had an order in for 450 kits, and I had a delivery 6 months late of 42 kits. And at that point, I thought, this is ridiculous. I don't do business like this. Again, it's not rocket science. It's a matter of diligence, knowing how to do the stuff, and being able to obtain the materials. So we started producing C41 kits. I saw that as an opportunity to kind of improve on that market. After the demise of film, the first demise of film, or the premature demise of film, C41 became sort of a Blix-centric, which is the bleach and fix processes got stuck together. That's not optimum. You never see a photo lab, like a real photo lab, doing that. They all use a separated bleach and fix. So we used formulation from an old lab in California, actually. Rather legendary old lab. We got their formula and started producing a separated bleach and fix kit. The advantages of that were, it's much better acuity. You're going to get a little bit sharper images. You're going to get a greater continuity in color. Chemistry lasts longer. But probably the kind of coolest thing about it was that we only use 60% of the amount of chemicals. So environmentally, it is vastly superior to using a Blix kit. So you have less material coming into the kits, which means less impact, and you have less material going back into the waste recovery system, which obviously has much less environmental impact.
All right, Dave, it's always good to meet another Dave, especially another one in the photo industry like this. Now, this takes me way back, and I'm blown away by the production and what you have going here. Years ago, a lot of people don't know this, I actually owned a photo finishing mini lab, like lifetimes ago. And back then, back in Calgary, there was probably 100 labs plus where you could go get C41 developed. But now, there's maybe one lab in Calgary that actually does consumer or C41. Is that part of the reason you brought all this chemical back to life and give people an option?
Sure, yeah. As the labs disappeared, the enthusiasts stayed, and a lot of them took to buying kits to work with. But as a film photography or analog photography has kind of exploded, with it, I think the interest is there. It's enthusiasts that are shooting film. In the old days, everybody that would currently be shooting on an iPhone shot on film because that's what was available. Now, if you're shooting film, you're an enthusiast. And so enthusiasts have a much higher tendency to develop their own film. They want to have it under control.
Exactly. I mean, it's been interesting to watch the whole industry change. I mean, small digital cameras came out and wiped out the photo finishing industry. I mean, within like 3 years. Do you think that's really what's going on with what people like about analog? Is that it's that kind of do-it-yourself, that more involved with the whole process?
I think the interest in film is driving that interest in doing it yourself. In other words, if you're so interested in photography, you go to shoot film, you then want to take a good handle on the process. And I know that just from the emails I get, people asking me questions about process and how to improve what they're doing and on and on. There's a real push for people to wrap their hands around the entire process of film photography.
And is it just the film, or is it like the developing side of it as well, like doing the printing? I see a lot of people developing the negatives and then scanning it to digital, but do you find people are doing as much printing and that side of it? Is it mainly film chemicals, or is it the paper chemicals that you're selling just as much of?
No, we sell way less paper chemical than film chemical, no doubt, but paper chemical is on the rise as well. And at one time, you could buy enlargers for 50 cents, or somebody would pay you $2 to haul it away. And those same enlargers sell, upwards for a good 4x5 color enlarger, you're looking at $1,500.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a big step to set up a darkroom in your house compared to developing film. Now, I like the idea of people being able to develop their film both in color, which you make very easy, but even in black and white, which is very simple and very pure style of photography, I find. Now, what is sort of your biggest seller when it comes to black and white developing kits?
We actually made a full-size black and white developing kit, which I have right behind me here.
You don't just have one, you've got a ton of them up
Yeah,
there.
we got them, and they were, well, we used to have, I mean, that was more full.
I mean, working at the store, when somebody comes in, they're like, I want to develop my own black and white film. It's a bit of a process because we're explaining different chemicals and different processes and stuff. You make it incredibly convenient, and you provide instructions that for developing 20 or 30 of the most popular films, the developing times and everything else to make that whole process super simple. Do you see another growth market? Do you see color film kits are growing just as fast, or is it just black and white is really pushing people?
Color film is, if there was more color film available, right now we're having a problem worldwide with color film.
But you're helping with that.
We are helping with that. Yeah, we've taken a different route on how we finish the film. So we have an unlimited supply of cassettes, unlike anybody else. And we can have as many made as we want. So C41 developing, we brought out a very simple little thing, which is a very accurate temperature controlled water bath to help with the C41 developing. And that's taken a lot of pressure off people. They felt the pressure with C41. You got to keep the temperature right on the money. So people use sous vides or various different means of keeping the temperatures together. Some of the aura of mystery has come off it. Probably a bigger thing we've been doing that has a lot of growth is ECN2 kits, which is movie film.
Interesting.
And movie film is the best film in the world.
In what way? Why does it make it better than sort of consumer grade film?
It's made with a very, very high dynamic range. They have a layer on the back, an anti-halation layer called a remjet layer that absolutely sucks up everything in excess light. The film itself is very, very high silver content, very, very fine grained. They use the same, I'm getting a little technical here, but dye couplers and color developer as slide film, so you've got very impactful colors, really, really great colors. And for years, it's not been possible to develop at home. You've got to take it to a Kodak machine, which is used to running 1,000 feet of film at a time, a little expensive with your little chunk of 35 millimeter. We made a kit that you can use at home that will run that, and that's been very popular. So that's a big growing area, ECN2 developing.
What Evelyn said earlier, I mean, I am kind of blown away. I mean, at one point, there's a thought that film is dead. Digital cameras are taking over and destroying film, but we've seen film come back in droves, and it's a massive amount of things. So just, I mean, the sheer scale of what you're producing here, you're moving all this product. So it is there. People are buying film, using film, and enjoying film, and the whole process so much more. You have so much product here, and you sell worldwide. We sell it at the camera store, of course. Where else can people kind of find more information about your product?
We have a website for Flicfilm. It is just an information site, as we're strictly a wholesale company. But there is a spot there to tell people where to buy. Throughout North America, into Asia, Australia, UK.
I wasn't sure what to expect when I came down here today. Quite honestly, I'm like, okay, here's a guy making some film, and I was thinking, is it bigger than a garage? No, this place is massive, and the scale of it is really blowing me away, quite honestly. So you're doing something right.
Well, we're just flat out having fun doing it too.
Well, it certainly shows. That's a big part of it.
All right, so I'm back here with Dalton, who is Dalton of all trades here at Flic Film, including the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of content you have on your channel right now?
So right now, we haven't made content in a little bit, but we're looking to make more content. But we have just some basic C41 development stuff, which was what Dave was originally wanting us to do, like the whole C41 setup, how to develop film if you've never developed before. And we recently just started doing ECN2, which is another form of development, and Vision 3 motion picture film. So we wanted to sort of advertise that out there, because that was when Dave was starting with the motion picture film, and we wanted to let people know.
So where can people find your channel? Do you have any other social accounts that people should check out?
So right now, it's just the YouTube channel, and we're going to be trying to do more YouTube stuff, and this year, hopefully more than last year. But yeah, hopefully we want to try and do like a video every few months, and then of course, make a bunch of other stuff like Instagram or TikTok, and just like little shorts of what we're doing here and what the products Dave has here, and just giving sort of a spotlight to them.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys check out Flic Film on YouTube. Watch out for that, and you can check out more of Dalton's work. Well, Dave, I certainly had fun checking out Flic Film and hearing from the other Dave about how he's been able to work with all these products and create some awesome kits. It makes me excited to pick one of these up, bring it home, and do some 35mm developing.
Yeah, you can really see that Dave loves what he does, and he really appreciates what's going on in the world and how film is so popular once again.
Yeah, of course, we want to know, what do you think? Are you someone that's interested in 35mm film? Did you shoot it before? Is this totally new for you? Let us know in the comments below.
Follow us both on Instagram.
And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll catch you again very soon.
I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I'm enjoying this bathtub right now. If you want to check out more of our recent content, click up here. And if you are local and want to shop Canadian, check out thecamstore.com down here.